Welcome back to the deep dive, where we, deep dive into all those things that make you go, wait, what?
Hmm.
Today we are talking about something that I bet you have sitting in your pantry right this second.
Oh.
Red dye, not 3.
Oh, yeah.
You know that cherry red color that you find in so many candies and foods?
Hmm.
Well, the FDA just recently announced that they are banning it from food and even some medications.
And you know what's really wild is that this isn't even new news.
Really?
Yeah, this dye, also called erythrocene,
Okay.
got kicked out of cosmetics like over 30 years ago because of, get this, cancer concerns.
Hold on. So if it's been known to be bad for that long,
Hmm.
why are we only dealing with it now?
Yeah.
And should I be worried about all those red gummy bears that I've eaten in my life?
These are excellent questions. And to understand this whole FDA move, we have to go back to 1960
Oh, wow.
to this law called the Delaney Clause.
Okay.
Now, this thing is serious. If any additive causes cancer in humans or animals,
Oh.
the FDA has to ban it, no exceptions.
So cosmetics are one thing,
Right.
but we're literally eating this stuff.
Yeah.
What took the FDA so long to catch up?
Well, back in the 90s, studies showed that red number 3 was causing cancer in male rats, and boom, it was gone from cosmetics.
Okay.
But, and this is a really crucial, but the way that it was messing with the rats was really specific to their hormones.
Okay.
It's not how it actually acts in humans.
So like chocolate's toxic to dogs,
Exactly.
but not to us.
Yeah.
Different biology.
Totally.
So it's been in our food all this time,
Mm-hmm.
and now suddenly it's a problem.
Right. And studies in other animals, even humans, haven't really shown that same cancer link.
Okay.
Which is, I think, why the FDA was okay with it being in food until now.
Okay. So what changed? Why the sudden red dye crackdown?
Well, a couple of things happened in 2022. Some food safety groups got together and basically said, hey, FDA, remember that whole cancer thing? Maybe you should take another look.
Right.
And then you had some members of Congress also getting concerned, especially about how much of this dye kids are actually consuming compared to adults.
Hmm.
And all of that pressure really kind of got the FDA to finally reevaluate.
But wait, if it's so safe, why ban it at all? Isn't this a little bit of an overreaction?
Well, not everyone agrees that it's harmless.
Okay.
The International Association of Color Manufacturers insists that red number 3 is totally fine at normal levels.
Okay.
They even point to research from the UN and the WHO backing them up.
Hmm.
So this is where it gets a little tricky because you've got different interpretations of the science pressure from all these different groups and even economic factors that you have to consider.
So it's not a simple good or bad situation. More like, well, it depends.
Yeah.
But for us regular folks, what does this ban actually mean? Will my candy aisle suddenly look different?
Well, the FDA gave food companies until January 2027 to actually change their recipes,
Okay.
and drug companies have until 2028.
Oh, wow.
But some big names like Ferrara and Mars Wrigley, they're already phasing it out.
Oh, wow.
You might even start to see some changes already.
So should I be checking ingredient lists like a detective now?
It wouldn't hurt. And, that actually brings up a pretty fascinating question.
Yeah.
If red nun 3 is on its way out, then what's taking its place?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out nature has some tricks up its sleeve.
Oh, this is getting good.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not even talking like bland, pale imitations either.
Okay.
Some companies are using things like beet juice,
Okay.
which has been a natural coloring agent like forever.
Beet juice. Okay, that makes sense. Natural, readily available. But doesn't everything end up tasting like beets then?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It all comes down to how they extract and process the pigments.
Okay.
But beet juice isn't even the only player in the game.
Ooh,
Get this, some companies are actually using carmine.
carmine. That
Yeah.
sounds kind of fancy.
Yeah.
Is that some exotic plant extract or something?
Not quite.
Yeah.
Carmine actually comes from crushed insects.
Wait, seriously?
Huh?
So that vibrant red color in like some candies and stuff,
Yeah.
I'm basically eating crushed beetles.
Yep. It's been used for centuries.
Wow.
Totally safe,
Okay.
but definitely not vegetarian friendly.
Oh,
And that's really just the tip of the iceberg.
wow.
You've also got pigments that come from purple sweet potato radish,
Oh, wow.
even red cabbage.
Really?
There's like a whole rainbow of natural options out there.
Makes you wonder, right? What else is lurking in my pantry that I should be questioning?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
But, we have to remember that natural doesn't always equal better.
Right.
Both natural and synthetic colorings kind of have their own pros and cons.
Okay.
Some natural dyes, they're just less stable.
Mm.
They fade in sunlight, or they even need some extra processing.
Okay.
And they can also be a lot more expensive, which usually means pricier products for us.
Right. Makes sense.
And then synthetics, Well, we know where those come from. Petroleum.
Yeah.
Not exactly a health food either.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Tough question. Turns out both options have some baggage. It's like picking between, let's say a slightly dented organic apple or a perfectly shiny one grown with who knows what.
Right.
Which one do you choose?
Exactly. This whole debate really makes us think about the trade-offs that we're making.
Yeah.
Do we want vibrant, cheap food that possibly has some questionable ingredients in it?
Right.
Or are we willing to pay a bit more for natural options that might not be as visually appealing or shelf-stable?
Yeah. No easy answers there.
Yeah.
But let's get back to red number 3 specifically.
Okay.
Some studies have linked it to cancer in rats,
Mm-hmm.
but not humans.
Oh.
So what's the bottom line? Is this stuff actually dangerous?
You know, the scientific community is still a little bit divided on this one.
Okay.
There aren't any, conclusive studies that prove that red number 3 causes cancer in humans.
Okay.
But there are some experts who say that those rat studies are definitely a red flag,
Okay.
especially when it comes to kids who might be a lot more sensitive to it.
Decades of using it and we're still not 100% sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of unsettling.
It is.
But this ban, could this be like a sign of things to come?
It very well might be.
Hmm.
This could be a total game changer for food additives.
Yeah.
If the FDA starts enforcing that Delaney clause more strictly,
Okay.
we might just see a whole wave of bans and reformulations coming our way.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Imagine like a whole new landscape of food additives. What's that even look like? And what about all the stuff that's already on shelves with red number 3 in it? Are they going to do like a mass recall?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
And so far, the FDA hasn't mentioned anything about recalls.
Okay.
But, as companies use up their stock and they switch to all these new recipes, those products will probably slowly start to vanish from stores.
Right.
But for now, it's really up to us, the consumers,
Yeah.
to be extra careful and, actually read those ingredient lists if we want to avoid red number 3.
So it's like a detective game now in the grocery aisles.
Right.
But all this focus on consumer choice, is it really that powerful? Can our decisions actually make a difference in the food industry?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every time we buy something, we're kind of telling companies what we want.
Okay.
Choosing those products without red num 3 sends a really clear message.
Like what?
We want natural, even if it costs a bit more.
Okay.
Or we just don't want synthetic dyes, period.
So we're not just passive shoppers.
No.
We're actually shaping the future of food.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of empowering, isn't it?
Totally. The more we actually know about what we're eating, the better choices we can make.
Yeah.
And this whole red dynone 3 situation, it's kind of a wake-up call.
Okay.
It shows us that even seemingly small choices can have a really big impact.
This deep dive has been pretty eye-opening.
It has been.
We've learned about this common food dye,
Uh-huh.
dug into this law that most people have probably never even heard of,
Yeah.
and realized that what we buy actually matters.
It really does. It's a perfect example of how food isn't just about taste.
Okay.
It's about science, regulations, ethics, and of course, our own choices as consumers.
Right.
The more informed we are, the better the food system we can actually create.
Well said. Okay, so now I'm curious, what can our listeners do if they want to learn more about this stuff? Are there any resources out there to help us navigate this confusing world of food additives?
Absolutely. There are a bunch of really great resources out there.
Okay, awesome. Where should we start?
I think a great place to begin is with the Center for Science in the Public Interest.
Right.
They're also known as CSPI.
CSPI, got it.
And they do a ton of research and advocacy work around food safety and labeling.
Oh, that sounds right up our alley.
Yeah, and they even have this awesome searchable database online
Oh, cool.
where you can look up certain products and see exactly what additives are in them.
So it's like having a detective kit for your groceries.
Exactly.
That's amazing. I am definitely checking that out. What other resources would you recommend?
Well, the Environmental Working Group, or EWG,
Okay.
is another really good one.
Right.
They have a ton of information not only about food additives, but also about other consumer products, too.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, the FDA's website is always a good source for the official rules and guidelines.
Perfect. We'll make sure to include links to all of those in the show notes. So listeners, you have no excuse to not do your own deep dive into the world of food additives.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Trust me, once you start going down this rabbit hole, you will never look at a food label the same way again.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap things up. We've learned so much today about red dynone 3, the Delaney clause, and just the surprisingly complex world of food choices.
Yeah, it really is fascinating.
It is.
And it's a great reminder that, what we eat isn't just about taste.
Right.
It's also a reflection of our values, our priorities, and even our understanding of the world around us.
Beautifully said. To all of our subscribers to Gotham Trends, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of food dyes and regulations. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and maybe think twice before you grab that brightly colored snack.
Yeah, who knows what other hidden stories are waiting to be uncovered right there in your pantry?